Hello students, thanks for your overwhelming response on my first lecture that was an overview of fundamentals of agricultural extension education. Today we will be learning the education in various dimensions, that is the meaning, definition and types of education. It is said in Sanskrit that Vidya Vihena Pasubhi Samana. So education is the line of demarcation between man and animal. This is the important. If we are educated, only then we can call ourselves the human being. So there has been lot of efforts in this area by different agencies. Even in animal kingdom, there is a process of training. The adult animals train their young ones with certain skills so that they live securely in jungle. And after the advancement of civilization, the dimensions of education and the various methods kept on evolving. Today we can see the different levels of education. Primarily, there are 7 levels of education: pre-primary, primary, lower secondary, secondary, higher secondary, college, and university. So you must have been through this system of education. You must have attended your LKG and UKG classes, if you could recall. Then after clearing this KG, you must have entered into the standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So if I ask you simple question, whether you are educated today or were you educated after clearing your UKG, kindergarten level, or after completion of the college we will be educated. So today we will be exploring the different dimensions of education, and what the concept we are having today will be changed as during this lecture. The system of education has been ever evolving. There are certain traditional education in which science, art, we call it basic education. Then we have professional education. At government level, the education has been considered as a component of human resource development. So at central level, at Government of India level, we have Ministry of Human Resource Development. And at the state level, we have Department of Human Resource Development. So in nutshell, we can say that education is an integral part of human resource development. Why and how human is considered resource? Because we are the producer, we are the consumer, we are the creator, we are everything for the society. So how best an individual can be transformed into a useful member of the society is the basic purpose of education. Right. Now let's have some glimpse on some quotations given by the great people, the great philosopher. Aristotle said that the roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. Dear students, you must have heard that teacher is like a coconut. And coconut is harder from outside and softer from inside. So this is the conceived characteristics of a teacher. Mahatma Gandhi said that live as if you were to die tomorrow and learn as if you were to live forever. Because education is the only art that is going to help you, to save you, to help you in every walks of life, to help you to excel in every walks of life. Leo Buscaglia said that change is the result of all true learning. Meaning thereby, the learning aims at changing. Change means what? What types of change? That is change in behavior. So we can conceive that education is the production of desirable human behavior. Education is the production of desirable human behavior. That question can be asked, how can we conceive behavior? What is behavior? According to Liggins, behavior refers to what an individual knows, that is knowledge. What he can do, that is skills. Skills can be mental and physical. I can give you one example that physician serves the people through mental skill and a surgeon serves the people through physical skill. Then what a person thinks or feels is attitude. And what he actually does is action. So, in nutshell, we can say the behavior is our response. What an individual does reflects his or her behavior. So, we can now identify the four components of behavior, that is knowledge, skill, attitude, and action. If we are to form an acronym, it is KASA, K-A-S-A. K stands for knowledge, A stands for attitude, S stands for skill, and E stands for action. The word education has been derived from Latin word educatio, meaning bringing up or rearing. Aristotle defines education as a process of training man to fulfill his aim by exercising all the faculties to the fullest extent as a member of the society. So, he conceives education as a process of training that fulfills the aim of the individual. We can now formulate the definition on our own. That is, education is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, and beliefs. Educational methods may include teaching, training, storytelling, discussion, and directed research. Education frequently takes place under the guidance of educators. However, learners can also learn without educators. Now, we can have some concept about different terminology because these are sometimes synonymously used. Education, learning, teaching, vidya, all that. So education, we could conceive that it is a process of learning. And learning, education is a behavior, learning is a behavior that is the part of a student, that is part of the learner. We cannot say that if learner has not learned, it means that teacher has not taught. Learner can also learn without teacher. We can see the example of Eklavya. Just he recalled Dronacharya as teacher. Just assume that he is his teacher without his physical presence, and he converted himself into a renowned, effective archer. We have already learned that education or behavior encompasses knowledge, skill, attitude, and action. Even without knowing letters, every individual, every animal has to have certain skills to live happily, to live securely. So even during prehistory era, the adults trained their young ones certain skills that were deemed necessary in their society. During pre-literate period, this was achieved orally through imitation. And after that, the storytelling passed knowledge, values, and skills from one generation to another generation. Means how the people learned, they learned through imitation. They learned the etiquettes, the manners, the traditions of their society through storytelling, through imitation, and transferred it to the next generation. As the culture advanced and knowledge moved beyond skills that could be readily learned through imitation, the formal education developed. The formal education requires certain literacy level, like the knowledge of alphabet and numbers, and that moved beyond the physical mechanical skills to the abstract skills required for the various other works of the society to meet the needs of the society, the formal education system developed. Now coming down to types of education. There are three types of education, that is formal, non-formal and informal. People sometimes get confused between non-formal and informal, but there is big difference between non-formal and informal. Students, what is your concept about education is basically formal education, because this is the type of education that takes place in school, college and universities. The education is given by the teachers and renowned professors who are considered expert in their field. Both the teachers and students are aware about the processes of education. The students have to complete the lessons and appear for examination. So what you are doing today is formal education. So what the students are going through the process, that is the process of formal education. There are certain characteristic features of formal education system. As we are observing and perceiving the system of education in our college and university, the structure is very formal and hierarchical. By hierarchy, what do we mean? Hierarchy means layer. One layer is above another. So we can conceive that way, that second year student is senior to first year. An M.Tech student is senior to B.Tech student. An intermediate student is senior to class 10 student. So that is, the formal education system is hierarchical. It is systematic and organized. What do we mean by that? Systematic. Systematic means a system has certain structure and functions. There is classroom, there is teacher, there is student, routine, exam. Then they have to secure certain percentage of marks. Only then they can be elevated to the next, promoted to the next class. So there is system. If a student remains absent in the class, he knows very well that he will be marked absent. So that is system. Their system is there. That's why it is systematic. Organized means the institution organized the activity. The school organized the class. The teacher organized the class. Again, it is rigid system. A student has to clear the class 8 exam to move on to class 9. He cannot be promoted if he fails in the examination. So the system is very rigid. Some institutions have a certain percentage of attendance. Only then the students will be allowed to appear for the examination. Then the kind of education is calculative and planned. Everything is calculated, number of days, number of hours, and how many days the classes will be conducted, how many days there will be holiday. So every activity is calculated and planned. It is chronologically graded. Chronologically graded means you have to clear study for 10 years to move on to class 11. So that is chronologically graded. 1 year is devoted for one class. The syllabus is fixed. Of course, the syllabus is developed by the competent persons, the experts of the discipline, but there is fixed syllabus and a student has to complete the syllabus to appear for the examination. The teachers teach the students. Means the system is vertical. Vertical means the information flows from teacher to the students. And age is also one of the criteria in formal education system. A student cannot be given admission in class 1 below 5 years. A student cannot appear for competitive examination in engineering or agriculture before certain age. So there is age limitation also. Students have to clear the examination to move into the next class. I have already told that attendance is compulsory. And in many of the instances, the students have to pay the fee. Students are awarded with the degree after the completion of examination. They are awarded with certain degree. My dear students, you must have seen the non-formal education center or Anaupcharik center, Anaupcharik Shikshan Kendra in your village. And that center acts as a center to provide basic education or literacy to the adult individuals who didn't get opportunity to have formal education. So basically this is the education for adults, and there is no formality, but the system is organized. This type of education is given in home or farm or at institute. This type of education is designed for a certain homogeneous group of people, like certain women's group, the adult persons, the youth. It makes the system very flexible, and the students are motivated to come to the center to learn. The non-formal education is quite unique in the way that it has the property of informal education and formal education. It is systematic and organized, but at the same time, it is very flexible. Now let's discuss the features of non-formal education system. Like formal education system, it is also planned mode of education. Again, it is systematic and organized. It is not related to the study given in school and college premises. It has got very flexible timetable. There is no fixed syllabus. And the education is horizontal in nature. Horizontal in nature means not only the information flows from teachers to the students, but the information also comes back from students to the teacher. Because the adults are already experienced, they have life experiences, and that way they can share certain information with the teachers also. As it is adult learning, so attendance is not mandatory. Most of the education is related to their practical importance, their practical problems, and the adults are only interested if their problem is solved. They will only learn if they have its practical application. It has got no age limit for the individuals. Means anybody can get benefit from the non-formal education system. An individual can opt for full-time or part-time learning. An individual can also earn while studying. And professional skills are taught to the individuals. We can conceive that the farmer's training is also a type of non-formal education. The practicing farmers are given certain training, the certain education related to agricultural production come within the purview of non-formal education system. Life teaches us many things. It is said that life is the great teacher. We learn from our daily activity, daily experiences. We learn from different types of individuals, different situations, different places, different sources. So unintentionally or without any planning, we keep on learning from our daily experiences. We can learn in our family, we can learn from our friends, we can learn from media, we can learn from teachers, we can learn in train, we can learn in hotel, everywhere, every place, every individual, every situation is a teacher. And we keep on learning from our daily experiences. It is often said that one learns from whom to talk. Dear students, you must have heard the story of Subhadranandan Abhimanyu. He learned the art, the skill to enter into Chakravyuh. And what was the fate of that half learning? The result was that Abhimanyu was killed because he could develop only the half skill, and that skill was learned when he was in his mother's womb. So before birth, we start the process of learning. We learn through play. We learn from our playmates. And it is the best example. A child learns her mother tongue without any efforts. Neither parents plan that mother tongue will be taught to their children. Now the child has any vision or planning that he will be learning the mother tongue. So he learns mother tongue, the manners and etiquettes of his family, the tradition of his family without any planning, without any timetable. So we keep on learning during entire life period, and it is rightly said, we start the learning before our birth and we learn before death. Now let's discuss the features of informal education system. This is the longest education endeavor. It is independent in itself. It has got no syllabus. It is neither planned nor got any timetable. Fees are not required to be paid in this type of education. One can learn lifelong by this mode of education. No certificate or degree is awarded. One can learn from any sources like friends, family, playmates, media, train, bus, hotel, restaurant, park, everywhere, from every place, from every source, we can learn. Friends, up till now, we have learned formal education system with its feature, informal education system with its feature, and non-formal education system with its feature. I have myself told you that the informal education is unplanned, without any timetable, flexible, unorganized, keep on as a lifelong exercise. But whether this loose type of education is of any importance in our educational pursuit? But experience or research has shown that this can be used as an effective tool not for child learning, but for also as a tool for adult learning. In late 19th century, the education through play was recognized as making an important contribution to child development. And today we have play school. The concept of play school has gained momentum in towns and cities. And every well-to-do family sends their children to play school, and thereafter they move on to LKG and UKG. This was also conceived as of having the greatest contribution towards adult learning. And if we give certain physical activity exercise to adults, they can learn something. L.P. Jacks, an early proponent of lifelong learning, described education through recreation. Means खेल खेल में शिक्षा. Keep on enjoying. Learning should be enjoyable. Learning should not be taken as pressure. And if the learning environment is very friendly and an element of recreation and enjoyment is given, the learning could be effective. John Dewey proposed a new educational theory which highlighted the role that experience plays in education. And we have experiential learning. Its experiential learning cycle, ELC model of education, is an important model of education that is used in training at management level. Students, this slide is for knowledge sake only, because in government report you have seen that there is a report on literacy. What is the literacy of India? What is the literacy level of a particular state? And entire focus of government is on increasing literacy. So what is literacy? So literacy is reading, writing with understanding. Reading, writing with understanding of what? Of alphabet and number. One need not write a long essay to be literate. One need not solve complex mathematical problems to be literate. Just simple understanding of alphabets and number is the definition of literacy. And the initiative of the government says that if a person is able to put his signature, he is able to just sign, he is literate. So that is only the knowledge of reading and writing, the knowledge of alphabets and numbers, that is literacy. But up till now, I expect that you are knowledgeable enough to have the concept of education, different types of education. The aim of education is to change the behavior, and that behavior includes the knowledge, skill, attitude, and action. So the education is beyond literacy. Of course, literacy helps in educational pursuit, but there are certain types of education that does not require any literacy. So education unfolds the world to the individuals. It develops a favorable attitude. If he is able to distinguish between good and bad, if he has the attitude favorable to the welfare of the society, the change in attitude, favorable change in attitude, a good skill, a good knowledge, a good experience, then the person is educated.